Hello everybody and welcome, my name is Ursa and this is the Mayan challenge that we've been rearing up towards for some time. I hope you all have had a go at it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned because this is going to be a lot of fun. A few weeks ago I put up some posts on YouTube and on Discord announcing the May challenge, which was playing as the Mayans. How quickly can you on this map cause the apocalypse? Now the apocalypse is a very precise thing. The apocalypse mode obviously has been turned on, and there is such a thing in Civ 6 as the world climate and climate change. If you drastically increase CO2 levels right the way through the game into phase 7, you begin the apocalypse. Comets rain down from the sky and the Mayans get to say, "I told you so." And that is basically the entire point of this playthrough. How quickly can we cause the apocalypse as the Mayans? Now, what I did is I put up a very specific set of map instructions on my Discord, on the YouTube channel. You can find them on this video on the community section of the YouTube channel, as well as coming to Discord if you want to play along as well. The challenge is still live. As of the time this video goes up on the channel, the challenge ends at 8 PM UK time on Tuesday the 31st of May 2022. So a lot of you will still have time to have a go and let me know what your turn timers are. There are some rewards on Discord, certain roles you can get if you win the challenge, some sort of awards if you can get a turn within sort of the comparable distance of my attempt. And basically, the turn in which you trigger the apocalypse is your score. The lower the better. Now, in true Ursa Ryan style, I'm going to be playing it live effectively, so you can see a playthrough as I do my attempt. I'm only going to be playing this game once. I like to do things first time and just have a go, see how it goes. I've done some research, I've done some looking into sort of how we should be playing this game, but I'm only going to have a single go, so fingers crossed, it should be fun. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, but Discord has this save file. You can play this. Remember as well, I have a Patreon, I have a coffee. If you want to support challenges like this going forward, then please have it. I mean, all the support is fantastic. It helps me to basically buy endless supplies of teas that I drown my sorrows with. Tea sorrow. Let's jump in to the game. We're playing as the Mayans today. Leady 6 guy, precisely. Not more than 6. It's always good that you remember that. The Mayans are a strange civ because they do not play as usual. Any of your cities that are not your capital within 6 tiles of your capital gain 10% to all yields and have a 3 builder. Everything else gets minus 15%. So basically they work really well. Tall empires around your capital, everything else not so good. Plus 5 combat strength to all units within 6 tiles of the capital as well. So if anybody attacks your core territories, you're going to be doing okay. No freshwater or coast housing from cities, so every single city you put down will have 3 housing at the beginning if it's your capital, or 2 if it's a regular city. However, farms give an additional +1 housing on top of the half housing they already give, so each farm effectively gives you 1.5. You get a production for every adjacent observatory to your farm, and +1 gold on all farms. Generally, you also get an amenity for settling a city next to a luxury. You also get the Hulche, which is a unique archer replacement that has +5 combat strength when fighting a wounded opponent. They're very good. And observatories, which give you a lovely +2 science boost for a plantation, a +1 science boost for every 2 adjacent farms or districts. It doesn't blend, unfortunately. It has to be 2 farms or 2 districts, not 1 of each. And of course, you build it in half the time, which is always really good. They're a really strange civ because basically wherever you put your capital, you take like a little measuring tool and you say, right, bam, that is 6 tiles away from my capital. Anything that I settle in that ring is going to have a lovely +10%. Everything outside of it is minus 15%. So wherever you put your capital, you need to make sure it's worth it. Causing the apocalypse means that I've got to flood the world with CO2, and there's several ways that you can do that, namely burning strategic resources. Now, coal is the biggest one. It is ugly, it is black and disgusting, and it will give you huge amounts of CO2 as you burn it. Well, basically oil is slightly better. It's kind of like halfway, a half of the impact of oil. And then uranium barely contributes CO2 at all. How do you burn those? Well, with power plants. As I use power in my cities, coal will naturally be burned and full CO2 for that resource will go into the atmosphere. And as we explain the challenge, this is going to be an interesting one because power plants are quite a reliable source of this. You also have oil power plants that do the same with oil, and then later into the game, nuclear power plants. Now, the absolute mechanics of how the apocalypse works and CO2 levels work is a little bit funny, but effectively it works like this. This is a tiny 4-player map. It's tiny as in that is the style of map that we're playing today. It means that we need to put 4 million units of CO2 into the atmosphere in order to trigger the apocalypse. That works out as 500,000 per stage. So 500,000, 1 million, 1.52, 2.5, 3 million. Oh no, hang on. So there's 2 points. Hang on. Yep. Ignore me because, right. So 1 point. We already start with 2 points. Okay. So it's 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points. Yeah, so 6 points. So 3 million, units of CO2. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly because we've already done 2 of those effectively. So polar ice melt is already 10% as soon as the game starts because we're playing on apocalypse mode. It hits onto phase 1. That's where I'm getting confused. 3 million units of CO2. Now, in order to get 3 million units of CO2, I've got to burn coal. Namely, 1 unit of coal burnt for power generates roughly 3,280 units. So I've got to burn 1,000 units of coal to trigger the apocalypse. Or slightly less, like 950 or so. And that's if I use it in coal power plants. There is a second way of doing it, and that's by using units that burn CO2 resources as well. For instance, a battleship. This uses 1 unit of coal per turn. The problem with units is whilst they do burn 1 coal per turn, it only generates half the CO2. So power plants effectively generate the full whack of CO2. Units only produce half of that amount. So namely, what I want to be doing is gathering as much coal into my nation as I can and burning it all on the power. Even better, this is basically what should help us to win the game. Railroads. Burning a railroad takes 1 iron and 1 coal. That coal gives you a full CO2 whack as if you were doing a coal power plant. So what I need to do is get just a huge bunch of military engineers and just produce railway after railway after railway. Finally, we have soothsayers. Now these cost faith. The base cost is 100, and every time you buy one it goes up another time. So 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 and so on and so forth. Every time a soothsayer uses one of their cause disasters, it puts a whopping 50,000 units of CO2 into the atmosphere. So 100 of those projects would be 5 million. So really, we'd only have to do 66 burnings of soothsayers to cause an apocalypse. They are effective. So basically, in order to trigger the apocalypse as quickly as possible, we're going to go for soothsayers, we're going to go for coal, and we're going to go for railroads. Anything we can generate in power plants, good. Railroads, good. Unit spam, well, if I've got excess oil, if I've got excess coal, that's great, but I don't plan on using any coal for units. I plan only on using oil and uranium where I can. Simple, huh? Very simple. Now, there is something I need to clarify. This is the 4-leaf clover map as provided by Civ 6. Unfortunately, that means the map is slightly buggy. Some of the flooding does not work on this map, so you will find floodplains are just not effective. Equally, there is a mechanic where depending on the deforestation level of the planet, CO2 levels go up or down. So traditionally what you can do is chop down all the woods and make the CO2 emissions even bigger. This map is slightly buggy. It kind of works and doesn't work. I picked this map because it would be a really, really good one for people on console to play. In hindsight, it's a bit annoying that that mechanic doesn't work, but it simplifies things, so fingers crossed it makes this challenge a little bit more accessible, so that is fine. But deforesting the planet is not going to make any difference. So what's my strategy then? Well, I need to get faith. You gotta have faith. There are 6 faith city-states on this map. I specifically put them on because I thought people might twig that you need to get soothsayers, so that's something we need to do. I don't need a religion though. Religions are not important to me. It's the faith generation which is the important thing. You can see I've turned all victories off, so you don't have to worry about people going for a culture victory or a science victory or a religious victory. You're just focused on what you're doing. We're also looking to put these observatories down in an amazing formation in order to try and effectively science your way through to steam power as quickly as possible. If you actually have a look, it's a fairly efficient little route that goes through education, so getting there is not too bad. The crazy thing is you don't actually need mining or any of these techs at the bottom of the tree. We'll probably be getting those, because I'm going to be rushing right in to start with, but it's something that's worth bearing in mind. We also want to watch out for the radius around my capital. Now, settling in place on this 4-leaf clover map is totally pointless, because it basically sacrifices about half of the land around my capital into the sea. What I'm going to be doing is going for a bit of a pilgrimage and not settling until about turn 7 or 8. Basically involving going into the middle of the map, out of my prong and into the central area of the map and settling near Mount Everest. As I do this, I also want to just make sure that I go and find the city-state up in the corner. I want to make sure that I found my first one and that I've got faith coming in per turn. Getting a Pantheon nice and early is a good thing. There's Yerevan. Lovely stuff. Now, is this a bit of a risky strategy? As you can see, yes. Yes, it is. Am I going to do it anyway? Yes, of course I am. Into the center of the map we go, dodging barbs in all locations, basically just praying that we don't get killed, and if we do, we'll just sort of pretend that nothing happened. There's Mount Everest, and what we're going to do is place myself on this tile right next to some bananas and within 2 tiles of Mount Everest. Now what that's going to do is give me an amazing era score bonus. We've already met plus 3 era score from being the first person to find Everest, and now another 3 era score from settling right next to it. If I can go Golden Age at the beginning of the game, that's going to help massively. There's also been a storm through here that's added another production to this tile, so we're already working at 2 food, 3 production, 1 faith tile. It's turn 9. It took us a little bit of extra time to navigate around an annoying barb spot here. I haven't seen this one spawn before on that particular intersection. A little bit annoying. But that's fine. We'll put up with it. And in order to get the city going, this housing, we just need better than that. 1 out of 3 housing? Terrible, terrible, terrible. I need to get a builder in place pretty quickly. So let's just rush that builder fast. Annoyingly, Kandy, who I've just found, has just stolen... they've just stolen that tribal hut from me. Now, as mentioned before, there are 3 people on this map. Finding them all quickly is going to give me era score, and it's going to help me to try and get into that golden age. A meteor shower right next to my capital. That is actually pretty handy, so we'll just go and see if we can steal that. You see, we already hit our housing capacity, so I'm just going to stick a single farm down. That'll just boost my housing above. We're working some lovely Everest tiles at the moment. It's a really, really good place to start this game. And also, here we go, political philosophy, we've just met Chinguetti. And actually, because we're in the center of the map so quickly, all 3 of these city-states we have found first. Now there's a few options here. Fertility rights works really well with the Mayans because you get a free builder in your capital, just helps you to improve these tiles a little bit further. But it also gives you city growth rate, and population is always a good thing. City Patron Goddess as well lets you get your unique district out much quicker, although because we've got the observatory, it's pretty quick to build anyway, so that isn't necessarily the best thing. Earth Goddess, however, breathtaking tiles, well, it is Everest. We have quite a few breathtaking tiles, so that is possibly a good way of getting a little bit extra faith. Alternatively, Lady of the Reeds and Marshes would give me more production on that oasis, as well as some marsh and desert floodplains tiles, but I could work a little bit later. That's not too bad. And more importantly, we could go for an early game rush of units by going for, where is the thing? God of the Forge. Production towards ancient and classical military units. That is often a good one as well. There's a lot of good options. A lot of very, very good options. For me personally, because we've settled right in the middle of the map, defending ourselves is going to be quite a tricky thing. So I'm going to go for an early game benefit, which is God of the Forge. Now it's a bit of a strange choice, considering we're trying to generate science, but if that helps me to survive, then honestly, that's all I need. Now, many of you will have seen the classic Mayan star formation to fit as many cities within the 6-tile range of your capital as possible. To remind you, looks a little bit like this. Some of it, unfortunately, is going to be taken by the sea, but there's a lot of space here that we can use. But the starmation looks a little bit like this. You're packing as many cities as you can into a lovely small radius around your capital, and then effectively what you're looking for are things like bananas. Now, luckily for me, I have 2. It's not a huge amount of plantations for the Mayans, but it is a good starting place, because what I can do is form a nice formation around a government plaza in the middle, and I can say this city will build an observatory there, my capital will build an observatory there, this city will build one on this tile, this city will build one on that tile. +4, +4, +4, +4. That, with the adjacency card, is going to be 32 science per turn. It's not a bad little formation, that one. Additionally, don't forget that farms being put down will get themselves a little bit more production, as you can see here, but also will help the adjacency of some of the observatories around them. Not all of them, but some of them. This is going to be a very pin-heavy game. Such is playing the Mayans, unfortunately. You're just going to have to put up with that. I believe the next tile is going to be there. I don't think that is covered by Mount Everest. The next one as well will be that, and we'll just keep an eye out for improvements that we can stick around. As mentioned, however, I don't think we're going to get away with much of this, because I honestly believe that the AI is going to give me a lot of problems with the center of the map. Normally they come out firing, they come out screaming, and it's going to be tricky to hold on to everything. Urban planning, discipline. Lots of barbs on this map because we've thrown ourselves right into the center, and Kublai is in the bottom right hand corner. Now again, making friends with the AI at this early stage of the game is a really important thing, because we do not want him going to war with me if we can help it. I think we can survive even if he does declare on us, but yeah, we just want to be a little bit careful early game. I'm going to rush foreign trade because we're going to try and meet as many people as we can here, and we're going to effectively use joint wars to protect ourselves as much as we can from the AI and their shenanigans. Chandragupta, that is the second AI, and he appears to be somewhere either top or bottom. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. I'll let you know as soon as we figure it out. I didn't send him a delegation because there was no point. There was no point at all. He already is on -7. Ah, Deity. It can be so much fun. See? Told you so. They just plain don't like me. Second city, however, is now down, and we can immediately, you can see, get the builder in, which is lovely. Stick a farm in. That boosts craftsmanship. And we've now got writing, so I can immediately put down an observatory district. I've got a single slinger popping out there because I really, really wanted to get myself just a little bit of defense. And once we've got these observatories down, we will focus on trying to put out these other 2 cities before the AI crowds us in too much. Oh, the AI's left a barb camp open. Some lovely era score. We'll take all the era score we can get. Slinger kill. There's the archery boost. That's going to be very handy. Keep an eye out for that one. There's the observatory. It was no accident. You bet it wasn't. And here is a barber camp, as well as the USA. Honor to meet you. Military strength 103, 107, 135. I mean, in terms of, the US hasn't met anyone yet. Actually, none of them have met each other yet. That's a shame. World's first to meet all civilizations. We did it first. Perfect. That's actually really, really handy. What I was thinking is whether or not it would be worth trying to make them go to joint wars with each other. I think it still might be worth it, but we'll kind of just hang on for a little bit. Another barb encampment has been left open. That is just wonderful. Another 3 of a score. We're guaranteed to go into a golden age. Perfect. I'll celebrate by going to irrigation. That'll give me a lot more science, a huge amount more science. So, okay, Kublai is standing on my borders. Intriguing. I don't think anyone else has met anyone. No, they still haven't met each other. That's fine. We don't mind that, really, but I am just moving my units now just to give myself a little bit more defense. You can see I'm starting to sling rush in my second city. I've got another settler about to pop out as well. I've got my lovely heavy chariot giving my cities a little bit more defensive strength. And don't forget I have the nice +5 bonus if they do go for me I should be ready for them. Now, don't forget the diplomatic favour. Always worth it. Sell that stuff, surely. Soon and surely. No doubt. A meteor shower, that's another thing. I'm just going to risk a slinger to go and get this if I can, because that'll give me another heavy chariot. I'd rather have that. Right, now they're going to do this thing where, again, they're going to just sort of pretend to sit around my borders for ages, but we'll see if I can just slip this unit out quickly. There's a settler there, but I think a little bit of a slinger rush. We're building up a tiny bit of gold. If I can get my halt chase spam, that'll be awesome. Here we go, one slinger. That's just given me another heavy chariot. It's just awesome, just helps my military strength, and we'll see if we can go and rescue the slinger. That would be the double bonus. Now, unfortunately, they've just plonked a slinger right where I was going to settle a city, which is a bit annoying. And now they're attacking from that spot. Of course they are. So I've just picked up irrigation, so I'm going to just get these plantations sorted quickly. And for me, the best thing that I can do is go for, I think, monumentality. Now this lets me turn faith and gold into better builders and settlers. I think that's the best thing for me right now. I want to just keep settling around my capital as quickly as I can. Look, there is a settler. I'll get my population back next turn. Got very low cities at the moment, but that's okay. So now that I've got craftsmanship, the next thing to do is to get my government plaza in my capital. Come on, Kublai. You know you want to attack. You're just stood there. It's really not subtle, okay? You feel like you're being subtle, but I promise you, you're not. Quick settlement and flop. Tikal. I was like Tikal. It makes me laugh. Every time. It's really immature. I know. Anyway, the observatory is being built now, and there's a plantation, and here is another plantation. We should be up to a lot higher now of the old science, plus 10 now. Still do better. It's an improvable thing. Oh, they're all starting to meet each other now. Nobody's met India, though, and they're the people that have denounced me. I'm feeling like we might be able to get a joint war out of this one, but we'll see. You might have noticed that I'm holding off getting iron and horses just because I want to put down the important couple of cities and districts first. After I've done that, I'll feel a little bit more reassured about opening them up. I always have a horrible feeling that strategics are going to appear and stop me from settling where I wanted to. Go on, move your units away. There we go. You know you were going to do that. 133. I've actually got more military strength than Kublai. That's the crazy thing. That is the absolutely crazy thing. There is Chinguetti, or Chichen-Itza, I think, is probably the more correct term. And boom, another set of era score. Killing barb camps with all of my units is actually a hugely important source of era score for me right now. Stop leaving all of these barb encampments open. Have you seen how much era score I'm getting? That's like 9 in the space of about 3 turns. Not that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining at all. It's just relatively amusing. First up is Pingala. I really would like a good Pingala start. I think it would be a very good addition. Help me to science through the tree to the CO2 techs as quickly as we can get it. I also quite like the idea of military tradition to get flanking bonuses. I have a huge amount of army right now. Bronze working is almost done. Animal husbandry is almost done. I'm just kind of holding off on both of them for a second here. Let's go for like shipbuilding quickly, but I think we're almost ready now to make the big plays. I'm just waiting until I can get this tile, and then I will start unlocking strategics. There we go. There we go. Government plaza, and we are down. Finish the slinger, and then finish that. Perfect. Now that we've done that, let's get animal husbandry and bronze working. The horses under that field, okay, and then under my capital. Oh, look at that. What a coincidence. Oh, I'm a cheeky boy. So iron spawned down here and up there in the 2 desert areas. Not a bad little place. I'm going to get the Holche sorted next turn. That's all very good as well. You can see diplomatic favor-wise, people are still selling it to me. Nobody wants to be an enemy just yet. No one's buying it up, but we're not too far off being at the stage where people will start to buy that diplomatic favor back. And that's always a good place to be. Let's get ourselves 1 spearman to see if we can get a boost with that one. India now wants to be my friend. Perfect. That's actually going to be really handy going forward, because we should be able to use them to wage war against others. Fingers crossed, anyway. Now you might see Appease the Gods come up a little bit, and that is, again, unfortunate because I do not believe that this map has any volcanoes at all. So not much you can really do about that one, but still. Our first scientist. Now, she gives us classical or medieval era Eurekas. Those are pretty good. I'm just about to pick up the horseback riding classical Eureka, make a trade route. See, there's lots of bits and pieces here that we might be able to rush, but I'm tempted just to sort of, I'm just going to wait on it. I'd rather use her right at the end when I know it's going to be pretty decent. So that's navigation, mathematics, engineering. Good. We're starting to really pull in some great people points now. We should be getting 4 per turn. That will be going up to 5 shortly. Finished a library in my capital. Lovely stuff. And Holche's production on these are going to be, it's pretty quick actually. I can get those out reasonably quickly. I'm thinking war with Kublai has got to be the next, it's got to be the good step here. Just trying to think of when that would be the best thing. Really, I need some gold. If I can get a good chunk of gold, like 50, that would actually be really, really good. Because that lets me do a load of upgrades and we can sort of go from there. Hang on, bomb. Let's just buy all that. 187. You can see my culture is a little bit rubbish. 4.5 at the moment, which on turn 63 is fairly pants. But connoisseur, that gives me, I should double it actually, thinking about it, to, yeah, 9.1. Almost exactly doubling it. That'll help me to get through some early game stuff. Let's go for the library and the monument. Just building libraries everywhere now that I've got the stuff. I mean, look at all these slingers. This Pantheon Wombo combo has been just wonderful for me. And I think we're going to pick up our first unique unit. Now this is 28 strength. It's very strong, but it'll be +5 against injured units. Okay, we're going to go for a surprise war. Now the benefit of doing this is that I can use my military, but also try and take over some of these Chinese cities. I think I might have said Mongolia a couple of times. It is, of course, China. And yeah, we've got a lot of units on the border here that will be able to do quite a considerable amount of damage. I'm also kind of waiting for them to attack me. Fingers crossed they're going to cross these little rivers and give me something to fire at. Bit of target practice. Yep, here we go. All one by one, they make their way over. Now, here's the thing. We can use a slinger unit, and then my Holche. Oh, look at that. It does so much damage. 38, because it's +5 when finding a wounded opponent, and I'm getting my +5 for standing in my own territory right now, so it's pretty decent. So there we go. There's the kill. Amazing stuff. Again, one by one, their units seem to just sort of throw themselves at me and get destroyed. It's quite pleasant, actually. This is very effective. Look at that. Haha. Come on, what are you going to throw at me? What are you going to throw at me? Oh, yep. This is perfect. My heavy chariot is just acting as the perfect shield right now. Slinger, kill. I mean, this particular avenue is getting me a kill every single turn. There's no way that they'll be able to produce enough units to hold that one back. Heavy chariot has finally broken through the front lines, and now we've got a Holche on this hill that is overlooking the entire battlefield and will help me no end. Again, they're still sacrificing a unit every turn. It's pretty effective. I'm holding back the barbs in all directions as well, which is very useful indeed. If I have a look at my available routes, what's the most... I mean, they all give exactly the same thing. So I think the best thing for me to do is to do a route that gives me the most... There's no envoys available to me. Yerevan, okay, that actually gives me the most... what do you call it? Road through my empire. Helps me get through a couple of rivers. Yeah, that's not a bad one. And actually, that gives me the money to get some Holche up. Heavy chariot comes over. The slinger just gives this warrior a little love tap so that my Holche gets the +5, like so. Very good. Moving my units in. This is so far so good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll try and press this city in now. My Holche are not going to do a huge amount of damage, but it's only 30 strength. That is very killable. I've got a couple of libraries finishing off, but I've got some horses now, so we can get a horseman in. Bit of era score from that tribal hut, and not a barb encampment, sorry. And every time I do that, I'm getting closer and closer to being able to afford the next Holche. Political philosophy. The best thing for me to do here is not oligarchy. It's classical republic. Get a little bit more housing and amenities in my cities. Now, I'm really looking forward to double science from campus adjacency. That's going to be a huge benefit to me. But conscription for now, will give me a little bit less gold cost. I mean, that's a huge cost for me at the moment. Getting builders up is a big one, and I want extra envoys because I want to make some friends. Friends are good. Oh, perfect. Right, America is now starting to buy the diplomatic favor. I believe we can get this almost exactly to... Yeah, look at that. Open borders as well. That gives them everything they want and gives me all the gold I could need to be a happy little empire. Perfect. Oh, America wants in on the war. That's awesome. Perfect. Well, we should like each other a bit more now because we've got a joint war going on here. Lovely stuff. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Matthew Wilkinson, Salty Tech, Davalex, Dearboy91, Trevor Askby, Paul Coffey, Kroger Brand Trail Mix, Alex Noob, Cinnamon Beard, Portland, Petra Ryan, Matthew Hatch, and Nim for all of your support, as well as everybody else who engages with the video and helps me to defeat the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.